Well,
Hey.
we're here again. We did
We're
it.
not alone, loves. We're not alone.
And we did say we were going to switch sides, didn't we?
We did it.
We did it. And I think this is much better.
Okay, why did we switch sides?
Because
to look that way.
you tend to do this, and you were like turning away from me, and then I was doing the same thing. So now we're turning towards you.
In this fucking studio. Excuse can I just say that? The power of Christ compels. But in this bloody studio, in this lovely studio, I always interview my clients, my guests there usually, and that's why I think I'm crooked on the way like that.
You do the thing.
I'm also facing left all the time.
Well, you're a little.
We're not going to talk about that.
We're not going politics.
Because we are what?
We're not. We are not going to talk about politics, but we are your.
Hell no.
We're your go-to
Podcast.
creative cast, radio cast.
Whatever we want to call it.
For all
it's whatever
things
we want that
creative.
day.
All things creative, right? We are talking about how people have designed their lives, and I am so excited about our guest today. I can't hardly stand it. I can't even wait to get to it. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, if you're watching us on YouTube, you can't see her, but she's popping up right here on the right-hand side. Loves popping up here. And who is this guest of which you speak?
Stacy Garcia.
Welcome to DesignMeetsLife, because honestly, Lady Stacy, my name is Stacy. I keep wanting to see, you know that song by the Ting Tings, I think it is? But normally we have people, viewing in and casting from all over the world. So thank you so much for being here.
Yes, it's so nice to have somebody live here.
I mean, phenomenal.
It's in Poco
and I
Raro.
love all of this, like you got your 2-camera shoot going.
We got
this
it
is
all.
totally profesh.
It's profesh.
That's what we
We're
do
doing
here
it.
on
Yeah.
the Design Meets Live. Should we do the rest of our intro or whatever?
Yeah, you know what?
Yeah.
We'll weave
You
it
know
in.
why you're here.
Well, yeah, we'll weave it in. But I'm just too excited to have you here. I was. How much have I been ranting?
A lot.
Like
and
a
some
lot.
And some plans were changed. And the
I
rant is gonna be beautiful because, well, first of all, can you see that ring she's wearing?
I know
you.
she's always got some fascinating,
I'm loving this
lovely.
ring.
Thank you.
Yes.
Got this one. It's a newbie from the vacay.
Gorgeous.
But Lady
Gorgeous.
K, Queen K, hasn't said that. She just got off a flight. No, she just got off the cruise. Did you not?
I
She
just
did.
got
Just
off
got
a
off a
cruise.
boat.
Yeah, I did.
Today.
This is how U.S. American, Jewish, Latino, New Yorkers get off a cruise. Please take a
I
look.
got the
Take a look.
All right, the jewels.
I am not even
We
kidding.
bring it, you know.
She looks fabulous.
But I think you've designed your life to do this.
Oh
right?
my gosh, she has. There's so many great things going on, but I just look. Rather than go through this is your bio, let's just go straight in.
Let's just talk. I
let's
mean,
just talk.
Let's just
Let's
can we
just
talk?
talk.
Can we
Can we
talk?
talk? I mean, forget it.
Coffee talk. It's Linda Richmond time.
It
It's
is.
Linda
I know.
Richmond
I was so
time.
verklempt when Kelly asked me to be on the show. I mean,
Do you guys remember? Do you gals remember when it was Mike Myers, Madonna, and Barbara Streisand? And I think Roseanne might have been there. I don't know what happened to her, but
Coffee talk.
Coffee
Linda
talk.
Richmond.
so
Well,
good.
can we do some coffee talk?
Yes.
we should do it.
How are you this gorge getting off a cruise
I
right
mean,
now?
well, thank you. I'll take it. Listen, it's been a week of rest and relaxation.
Okay,
you know.
was it?
Yeah.
a little
Can I
bit.
say
Yeah.
something untoward? It's not really bad.
What?
But on a cruise, I always get a little bit bloaty.
Yeah.
well,
Oh,
Is that just
depends.
me?
It depends on
Bloaty.
what
I
you're
had a
eating.
moment where I looked at my husband. I'm like, I'm going on a water diet for the next 2 days because I'm like, literally, like 2:00 in the morning. I'm like, I can't sleep. I'm so
swear.
uncomfortable. I'm like, I'm pretty sure this is one of the 7 deadly sins, and it's called gluttony. So I need to shut it down and like detox for the next 24.
It's so true.
to
though.
48.
You just got off a cruise too.
I did,
With
and
the
then
fam.
I hit the diet like hardcore.
Oh no! I
Oh,
water
yeah.
dieted on the cruise because I could not. I
stand
I was
yourself.
uncomfortable.
I know.
In my, like in pain. It's horrible.
it is.
Like,
But at the same time, it's lovely. Where were you, if I can ask? Can you reveal where you
oh
were?
yes, yeah, we did. So I have the whole familia with me. I have my 4 kids, the husband, and we did a tour of some of the Italian stops, France. That was a fun one. I was showing Kelly right before the show. I
Yeah.
have my vision board on my phone, and I put that together in January. One of the things on there was the lavender fields
Gorgeous.
in Provence.
yeah.
We were supposed to stop in Cannes.
Ah.
And I had a beach club booked. And then about a week ago, I was like, you know what? I don't think I need to spend like $900 to go sit on a lounge chair somewhere. We're going to roll off the boat and I'm going to find a lounge chair
Yeah.
for a lot less money. And,
Yeah.
you know, this is like silly. This is really silly. So I canceled that. Well, P.S. we get on the ship and they're like, oh, we're really sorry, but we can't do Cannes. We're doing Marseille instead.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh, I can't believe this is like manifesting already for me.
It was.
Like
You're
this
talking my
is
language.
the moment
Manifesting.
that you can go see the lavender.
I know, right.
And there I mean, beyond. I was like, just
love
thank you,
it.
Lord. I can't believe this is here. And so that was one of the highlights of the trip. But yeah, we did that. Genoa.
Yeah.
It's a nice way.
You got the pesto in you?
Yeah,
Oh
totally.
my God. Did you get the rosé all day while you were in Provence?
I did the rosé. We did. We had. Lunch. We ate at a fromagerie
Oh.
in Aix.
Okay.
Like the best. I'm going to be dreaming about this cheese.
Yeah, 'cause that's where I'm
Right.
going for a little break in September.
Yeah. Oh, it was
Shout
wonderful.
out Lady Germaine.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was just wonderful, the whole thing. But anyway, this is a highlight.
Nice way to wrap up the trip. Right?
Yeah. Oh, the best.
Okay, well, let's start talking about why you're even here with Design Meets Life, because I have to say, everybody who knows me and has listened to me on any panel at any point during any kind of design discussion, if anyone says to me, "How did you get started in?" It's this woman right here is my mentor.
Thank you so much.
You have been my mentor for so many years. And if I had a question, I could call you and talk to you about, especially licensing.
Yeah.
So every licensing deal that I've ever had, I think I ran past you. But you truly showed me how to do all of it, any of it. And I wouldn't have had one deal without you.
Thank you. That means so much.
It's
I really
true.
It really means so much. And right back at you. So, I mean, this is coming from a woman who, by the way, invited me to speak when she was doing Design Camp.
That's
Right? Design Campus?
Yeah.
Design Camp.
Yeah, both, yeah.
And so I was on she was running this huge thing, bringing designers in from all over the world
Mm-hmm.
and then showing them the ropes at the major trade shows. And I was invited to be a speaker. So I'm
right.
looking like, designer Kelly Ellis asked me to be a speaker. And then she's like, we're on a panel one day. And she's like, and she was my mentor. I'm like, I was?
Yes.
I didn't know that. I thought we were just having cocktails, lady. Thank you so much. No, that means so much. But it's exciting because I'm actually working on something new that I was starting to whisper to Kelly. This is the first time I'm even talking about it out loud.
Okay.
Which
Break
is
it.
yeah. So I'm actually working on a course for licensing.
Absolutely.
So to teach people, because over the years I've answered lots of questions, mentored lots of people, have lots of friends that I've helped. And there's a limit, obviously, to how much time I have, to how many people I can actually teach this to.
Yep.
And so I decided, why not? Like
Exactly.
it's time to put it together in an organized way and then hopefully be able to help a lot more designers and artists and even creative influencers.
I was just going to say,
Yeah.
so let's back it up. And for people who don't understand what licensing means, what does that mean for some of the people who are listening? They're like, what?
So what that means is it's basically you're lending what we call your intellectual property. And that could be your face, your likeness, your ideas, your trademarks, your name, and in our instance, designs and our concepts, our copyrights, things like that. And you're basically putting it on loan to a manufacturer or a retailer or another company who's going to pay you a percentage of sales. Mm-hmm. So versus you design it once, work for hire, you get paid your fee, and that's the end and you're done. With licensing, it's a way to make money on your ideas or on your content over and over and over until, there's no useful life left in it. And
It's really design meeting your life.
Right?
Right?
100%. That's why you can see how excited I
They can't see on
was.
Instagram.
Yeah.
Get closer, baby. They
Oh,
can't see on
thank you.
Instagram.
Oh,
There.
thank
Pretty
you.
face.
I appreciate it. There we go.
All
Right,
three of us
scooting
can
in.
fit on Instagram and YouTube. Okay, well, I always have questions. You go, girl. You go, girl.
No, please ask because
How did you go out? Now I'm curious on when you first met.
Oh my gosh, years ago.
Do you remember?
It was for Design Camp.
It
I
was
think
Design
so. I
Camp.
think that's how we
Speak.
first got together.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. And did you always know? Did you always have this gift within you? Okay, I'm going to be doing this. Did you
Tell
know
how
at a
it
certain time?
started.
Well, I mean, I went to art school, so kind of back. My degree is in something called surface pattern design. So I actually got trained on how
Very
to
specific.
paint, and this was like really pre-CAD. I think I took one CAD course, but how to paint patterns that would go onto surfaces. And I got lucky because I nailed an internship at Ralph Lauren. So that really is where my whole concept of what you could do opened
Yes.
up. And I remember sitting there as the intern and listening to the designers and the product people kind of be negotiating sort of with these other companies. The bedding company would be vying for, please, can you just do the floral in this color? And they were like, no, it's going to be pink this season. That's the color. And they're like, yeah, but this is the color that's selling. And it was like, but that's not in our theme. And I remember saying like, who are these companies and why do they have a say and why is this even a negotiation? And it's like, well, we license our brand. And that's where I was like, well, I don't even know what that means. And again, this is pre-internet. This is, so I'll date myself, but this is before you would accept your licensing terms on everything that you download onto your phone.
That's right.
And
That's right.
right. I mean, so we're kind of familiar with it, but basically that was the first time I ever heard it. And it's how Ralph at the time had built this monster global company at that moment was by bringing on all of these other manufacturers who could produce it and deal with the inventory and fulfillment and all of that. And we're paying their company, obviously, major dollars in licensing fees.
Wow.
It's so interesting because Patty worked one of our
Patty
other
Carpenter.
Oh, yeah.
as well with
Patty
Ralph
came on.
Lauren.
Yeah.
So Ralph has been
Popping up,
instrumental, in some
Ralph
of the
has
stuff that
been
we've done here.
instrumental. Most of the design creatives that we know had like some kind of touch with Ralph Lauren in New York.
And with art as well. And it's interesting because the woman that I interviewed before, same thing, art school as well. And I had no idea. So when art school, do you think how does art then tie in eventually with business? I mean, could you make it happen?
I know. For me, it was, I think there's a lot of disparity. So a lot of people who go to art school, it's like, you're going to find that path in some form of design so that you can go make a living, right? Not live in a cardboard box. That's always the fear of every parent. Like, my kids
That's
going to art
That's exactly what my father said.
yeah.
You could be an artist later. Go to law school.
Right,
Really?
exactly.
Yeah.
So, but I grew up in a family of entrepreneurs. So, this was kind of regular dinner conversation was what was going on in the business, who are you hiring, how are you scaling, what challenges are you dealing with? And I feel like my kids are growing up with very similar conversation,
Absolutely.
which is pretty cool.
Really cool.
Yeah, it's in their vernacular. It's like, we
love
talk about
that.
interest rates. Like, we're a boring family.
I don't think there's anything boring about it.
Absolutely not. And I think it's so pivotal.
I think
I
everybody's
don't
an
know.
entrepreneur, aren't they? I mean, you really kind of have to have that basis. I think it should be the foundation of all education.
Yeah.
If you're going to do a formal education, I think business is the foundation for all of it. Because now people are, their name.com. Okay.
Correct, right.
Well, you are a business. So
Yes.
what are you doing?
And what's your service?
What's your
Because we're all
service?
in the service industry of some kind. We're
yeah.
providing a service.
Totally.
Which keeps us all in, if you look at it in a certain way, it keeps us all in an even plane. Just some people get paid more for their services than other, but we all
Right.
have to provide a service. I mean, if we're not sick, we don't need a doctor.
Right.
Right. It's so interesting. So I know the story of pillows. Is that the first thing that you sold, and how did that start?
No, the pillows, I've gone through iterations of the pillows. So at one point I did go into the manufacturing of the pillows. Today we're licensed in that category, which for me is, really nice.
Yeah.
It's easy. And so my job is to come up with the creative direction. But I actually started originally, again, the dream was to do licensed design. So I was, this kid working in the textile world and wanted to go off on my own. And so I created a collection and was running around trying to get meetings, marketing the collection, trying to get somebody to license the collection. I met with every fabric company I could find in New York City and heard a lot of no's. And so my husband, we were married. We got married young, 24. And he said I happen to be married to a CPA. That also helps to run a business,
Yes,
by the way.
it
So
does.
shout out to Mike and happy birthday, babe, if you're listening.
Thank you. Happy birthday. Yeah.
So he said, what do you need these companies for? Like, go take your collection that you designed and create a fabric line and go figure out how to sell it. And I'm like, we don't have money, number one. Number two,
What?
I don't know, the factories. I don't have the business background. It was like all of the fear, all of the reasons why this would never work, never work. And it's funny because back it up, I was working at another company and the person who was head of sales lived maybe 3 blocks away from us in New York City. And so we used to have dinner with them all the time and we were very close. And I kept saying to him, why don't we leave and start a fabric company together? Like, let's go. I'll do the design part and you do the sales part and we'll figure this out. And he kept saying, there's no way. It's never going to work. It's never going to work. It's never going to work. And I'm like, that's where God's blessing lies upon everything because, it would have been probably a disaster. And so, flash forward a few years later, my husband kept saying, just do it. We'll figure it out. We basically, took every penny we had saved, which was the equity in our home at the time, $50,000, and launched a textile company out of nothing, like a dream. And and just, hustled. I mean, we
Hope
had
and a prayer and hustle.
Hustle.
a lot of hustle, and it just, it's amazing. It's, you put one foot in front of the other and you sort of figure it out as you keep making a little bit of progress.
Oh my,
So, yeah.
see,
The fear factor. I like that you said that.
Yeah.
Because my mother used to say, when there's fear there, mijito, that means you're doing the right thing. Because that means that, you have to confront that fear in order to get. When you cross that challenge,
Yeah.
you invested in
Exactly.
everything, and then it takes off little by little. How did that return for you feel? Like, more maybe kinetically, not necessarily financially, obviously. How
Yeah,
do you
I mean,
feel?
it's a little bit of both. Listen, I can't help myself. Like, I'm a New Yorker. It's like the financial piece needs to make sense too. It's an expensive place to live. But the truth is, I think I felt relief when we finally paid back the home equity line, because I knew I wouldn't have to move in with my in-laws. That was a
there's
very
so much
motivating-
motivation.
Murder.
There's so much motivation here.
Yeah, totally. It was an interesting thing. Listen, I was a very young woman who had started this thing, and I remember it was like trade show 1 or 2, and one of the vendors that we were sourcing from kind of came over and was like, I had an uncle who, by the way, was building a house in Las Vegas when I started this business.
Okay.
And I convinced him and my sister, she's a speech pathologist in LA, to come to the trade show with me, because what I realized is you can't work a booth for 2.5 days by yourself.
Right.
Because you can't eat, you can't go to the bathroom.
Right.
So I pulled 2 family members in, and Uncle Larry had run his own businesses over the years, and he kind of was like building this house. All right, sure. Like, I'll come, I'll help you. So it's me,
Uncle
my
Larry.
sister Lee, and Uncle Larry working this very first trade show. And one of the vendors is like, so, is he your angel? Like, he's your angel investor, right?
Wha-
And I'm like, okay, how do I answer this question?
Right.
So I paused for like a second, or 2, and I'm like, yes, he is. Correct. He is the silent partner. He's the angel investor. None of which was true.
Right.
But I was like, you know what? If I'm going to like step out, let them think there's a
Sure.
lot of money behind this.
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
Like,
it
let
was-
them think there's like deep pockets. There's an
Good
older
answer,
guy,
yeah.
right? Yes, that's exactly how I did this. Because how could a 20-something-year-old pull this off? Start
Right.
a textile company by herself?
Right. So
You
you had
know?
some little confidence. You threw some confidence in there
Yeah.
because you were
it was
thinking
make
like,
believe. It's like magic fairy dust. That's how we get it all done.
I'm pretty sure
Maybe it's make believe.
we really do say yes a lot and then turn around and go, how the hell am I going to do that? That's what I would call her.
Yeah.
Somebody would say, hey, do you want a line?
said, I did not
you wanna,
know this.
You want to? Yeah, they're like, hey, we would like you to
Damn.
do a licensing deal.
Yeah.
You're gonna create beds. I'm
Yeah.
just like, yeah, and then turn around and call you.
Yeah, you're like, how am I
How
going
am
to
I
do
gonna?
this?
How am I do this?
You want to know something amazing? I read a book recently, and this has been now my new mantra, which is something I think we've innately done and successful people out there have done. And if you're listening and you're like, okay, how do I do that? This is the magic to it. But it's like, say yes, and then it's not how am I going to do it? It's who do I know that
Yes.
can help me?
Totally.
So I'm usually one person away.
Yep.
And even if that's not the person, they know someone. So I'm like, okay, who do I know who can help me now figure out what I've gotten myself into?
Do you think that is a U.S. American thing or a New Yorker thing or a mixture?
I think it's a global thing. I mean, I don't, honestly, there's nobody,
There's a lot of, because here,
I
you know
don't
what I'm talking
believe
about
there's
here.
any self-made people. Nobody's self-made.
That's really an interesting point.
Nobody's self-made. Everybody had people behind them, opening a door, helping introduce them, buying their services, whatever it is. We don't do it ourselves.
Yes.
So
That's
it's always
so
like,
true.
who do you want? Who do you know? And I'll tell you what's been magical about this is this has been my new like quote pitch. When I'm like, all right, how do I get to where I want to go? Right? I want to do this. I'm like, instead of being like, I have something to sell you. I'm like, my new pitch is like, hey, can I have 5 minutes of your time? I need your advice.
Yep.
And what I find
People love to give their advice, don't they?
people are happy to help.
Yeah.
Most people are
Yeah.
really giving people.
Yep.
Yeah, I can give you 5 minutes of my time for advice. Of course, what can I help you with?
Yes.
How can I help you? And I'm like, okay, here's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to crack into
X,
this
Y, Z,
huge
yeah.
thing or whatever it is, big, small, it doesn't matter. How do I get in? Who do I need to talk to? Oh, let me introduce you to so-and-so. They're the head of purchasing here. These are the papers you need to fill out. This is what you need. This is what they're going to ask you. And it's
Hustle.
like,
It's hustle. It's just having the ability to also, I think that sometimes the ego gets in the way, right? So there's so many people who we were having a brief conversation about the younger generation of who you educate quite often. Not you yourself, that you're an educator of.
Well, but I do. And
Yes.
girl, this is one.
Yes. And so they've got
scary.
this like, okay, so I've got this degree and then you're supposed to hire me, right? Like that's it. and now make it happen for me. Yeah.
I have a statistic to tell you. I don't know if you know this. 20% of all new first-time interviews of young kids, of young graduates, they take their parents with them now in the UK and US.
Wow.
1 out of 5 new job interviews for new university students take their parent with them to the interview.
Oh, that's horrible.
That is horrible.
Parents, do not go with
Don't
your
go.
child.
And so that's
What's
why
going on?
when we talk about the hustle, to me, the hustle is such a big thing. It's not just a song by Van McCoy. And there's this element where I feel like a lot of our children don't have it. So when you're talking about how we talk with the kids and this is how we grew up.
Yeah.
Business, our whole family made businesses. That's what they do. So I feel that's lacking in certain parts of European identity. And I feel like I wonder if it's just more. That's why I asked the US/New York thing.
Yeah. No, I can say for 100% that we've had this conversation many times, but it's a very different animal here.
Right.
Right. It's very different. They look at us like you're. I hear the word compete a lot.
Yeah.
And I said it's not that we're competing. It's not competition. It's just ambition.
Which is a bad word. When I arrived, I was wanted to say ambition was a bad word.
Yeah.
So with my uni students, I say, no. Overly ambitious where you'll kill your mom, that's one thing. But
Right.
hello?
Right.
I think there's a balance. I mean, in
Amen
my,
to
midlife now, as I entered 50, I was really loud about that on social media. I was very proud of myself that I made it this far. But I do think in this wisdom, that concept that we can want nice things for ourselves and we can want to use, and I say this to my kids all the time, use your power for good, because we're all powerful people. So, how are you going to take that? And, my kids are, I want the yacht. And of course, that's great. And then what are you going to do to make this world a better place? Right.
Amen.
So how do we use our power for good
Right.
in this family? And you can have anything you want. I don't begrudge you. Go for it, kid. Do it. And when you do it, you make sure that you're taking a chunk of that and doing good in the world.
Yeah.
Because you got to be really bright or lucky to get that far, right? But I think there's that balance, and we're saying, this hustle culture is a sickness.
Yes,
There's
it
a
is.
disease
Okay,
in
yes, it
it
is.
that, I think it's okay to acknowledge, and I do think there's an awakening and there will be a reckoning happening. And when you look at cultures, European cultures and Asian cultures, where they're older, they're more established, there's more history to it. I think
True.
there's a recognition that there's more to life than
For
hustle.
sure.
There's more to life than earning. There's more to life than
Yeah.
achieving the next level of the game. It's almost like a video game addiction. And so I think there is a balance that I'm starting to seek for myself. And I'm watching more friends look at it. And we were just talking, even this younger generation, of wanting more work-life balance, whatever that means. But I think it's that concept that at some point, it's not that it's enough. Work and achieve, but for what purpose?
Right.
And so what are, why? So it's sort of getting behind the why. And what I'm realizing is when I lean into people, I think when we hustle, we're leaning into ego. It's like, I can do this.
Interesting.
I got this. Let me go work. Let me grind. Let me do it the hard way, because then I get to say I did it, versus who do I know that can help me? Let me lean into that, because that opens the doors with so much more ease
Right.
to get where you want to get, and to bring people along the way and give them that satisfaction of knowing they were part of helping somebody else's journey. And so I think there's different ways to get to what we're trying to accomplish. I'm trying to lean into
Collaboration.
Let it be easy.
Yeah.
Let's
Flow.
be successful.
Yeah.
Right. But, lean into that flow. I've learned at this point, I used to be like, do you remember Ram Man? Do you remember He-Man, the characters?
Yeah.
We're of a similar generation,
Yes.
right? So there was a
Masters
character
of the
called
Universe.
Ram Man. And if you had the doll, I had a brother, I have a brother, and he had the doll. You would squish it down, and then its head would pop out. And you'd try to use it to open the gates to Castle Grayskull. Dan, if you're watching, I'm talking about you. And that was me for so long. It was like, okay, they're not opening the door. Let me use my head and smash it in.
Right.
Let me try to ram man my head through this door to get what I want to do. And then if that door wouldn't open, I'd climb in a back window.
Right.
It's like, that's what because I'm going to get what I want.
Right.
I'm not taking no for an answer. I don't hear the word no.
This is a New Yorker thing. My auntie would always say this. Don't tell me no, baby. Make it happen. And it is a thing, but I'm also getting a major spiritual vibe from you.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
I felt it the minute I saw you.
Oh, Oh, thank
And
you.
so that's why I said that infectious smile.
Yeah.
How much, and what you're talking about, you also said the word manifest earlier.
Yes.
How much of this is parlaying into what you're saying, and how much of this has grown because of the pandemic? Because this slowdown and recognition of what we want now and our
Right.
work-life balance is also because of the pandemic. In a
Totally.
way.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that really brought it to light for sure. I think it's a mix. I mean, I believe that we are spiritual beings having a physical
because-
existence,
that's right.
and you know, and that's something that over time and over years, and I'm still a seeker. You know, I'm still looking for the answers. I'm still wanting to learn more and experience more. For myself, I think I've hit stages of wisdom and stages of understanding about things, and so rather than again coming back to that like kick the door in, or how do you get there, I've now tried to lean into acceptance that it's okay. It doesn't have to be on my time, and it doesn't have to be my way.
That's exactly what
And so I still believe it's going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, I
Just in a
believe
different way, maybe.
Divine timing.
Yeah.
divine, right? That's a great way to look at divine timing. And so I don't let go of my dream or my wish or whatever that, is planted there that I'm trying to make manifest or vision for myself. But I am trying to ease into it a little bit better, where it's like, okay, if it's not right now, or it's like, we're going to park it on the back and we'll move on to something else. And then like the lavender fields, it's like, oh,
Here it is.
I mean, that wasn't even on our itinerary. And I was like, the universe is good. I mean, God is so good.
We do have a lot. Excuse me.
Yeah.
No. Go
Because
ahead.
we have a lot of lavender in North Fork, Long Island.
I
Just
heard.
saying.
I posted. I'm like, my friend Rosemary Hittmeyer was
Come to
like,
Greenport. My family was in Greenport.
It's good.
I'm using your armrest because this is really
Hell to the yeah.
comfortable.
Sorry, baby.
We're getting very comfortable here. Okay, so what you just said is really interesting, because I've always said, it is what it is, or things happen for a reason. And some people really, really embrace it, and some people really dislike it.
Mm-hmm.
But I truly believe that if you think about all the times that you thought, okay, I want this, and this is how I want it to happen.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't happen, you can either fight, be really upset about it, go deep, right, and not get out of the hole that you just put yourself in,
Yeah.
or you go, okay, it's going to happen, but it's going to happen in a different way.
Correct. Yeah. And you don't let go of that. Like if it's planted in you, if that dream is in your heart, it's going to be. You just, you keep making your baby steps toward it, but allow. I think that's really been
It's great.
I'm going to allow it. I'm just, yeah.
Allow it, though. That's really important, don't you think? Because you're going to see it in a different way, right? Like you
Yeah.
said, especially when you start talking to other people and allowing other people to help you with that dream.
Yeah, totally.
Right? Because it opens up in such a different way, right?
Yeah, totally. I have a coach I work with for years, and her whole thing has been, it'll either be blessed or it'll be blocked. And so just lean into that.
I like that.
Like if it's not blessed right now, then trust that God is blocking it for a reason.
Okay.
And just
Something
thank
you
him
need to
for
learn.
the divine protection.
Right?
Yeah.
Something you need to learn right here.
Yeah.
I love this.
It's good stuff.
Does your husband view things like this as well?
He's very easygoing. So, he's sort of the yin to my yang. So I bring a different level of intensity, and he's always been the calm in the storm.
That's great. It's a good
yeah.
balance.
And how do the kids gravitate to that?
Yeah, we've had some interesting conversations. I mean, my daughter's like, oh, I hate being in the car with you, because every single time it's like a spiritual dialogue.
See, I love that shit.
I'm like, one day you're going to appreciate it. She's like, oh. And the quote is, "It's not that deep, Mom." It's a Jen
How
Allen.
old is she?
14.
That's perfect.
Yeah,
Of
yeah,
course,
yeah.
yeah, of course.
So there's a whole nother language too. I'm like, thank God for my kids. They keep me cool.
Oh,
Okay.
I don't understand half of it.
I
Yeah,
know.
mine are out. Mine are 28 and 29 now.
Oh, no,
I don't have any.
Gen Alpha it's like Pauly Shore was reborn in his generation with a whole new language.
Stop it.
Yeah,
That's
no,
good
no.
these days, by
does,
the
he
way.
does.
For those of you who have,
Yeah,
young teenagers, you know what I'm talking about.
I
Like,
have no clue.
oh, the Rizzler.
I
Yeah.
have
no,
to.
I,
I
the
have
You,
to.
you got, you know what the Rizzler is?
I've
what
only
Riz
heard
is?
it.
You got
yeah.
Riz?
You got
Yeah.
Riz. Yes,
You
I
got
know.
Riz,
And is it
charisma.
yeet?
Charisma.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't. You work with the young people.
I
I don't work
have
with
to
the
know more
young
than
people.
them, so
Yeah.
that then because I'll say this: For those Europeans who need to speak the English, Taylor Swift has really helped a lot of people speak the English. Now we'll move on to the next thing.
I want to talk about the different licensing lines that you have now. What are you?
yeah.
What do you currently have, and then what are you looking towards?
I know. Well, I still own Libatex, so that was the first company that I
Libatex,
started.
yeah.
Yes, named after my great grandma Liba.
Love that.
And so we're supplying hotels, interior designers that are doing hospitality work, and then on the licensing front, we're doing a whole bunch of things. I'm actually really excited because we are just launching a new tile collection through a company called Harmony. So it's a brand called Harmony. It's a Spanish company.
Yay!
And yeah, so this was perfect timing. I was saying to Kelly, they just started posting July 4th. I'm like, we'll talk about that on Monday when the U.S. wakes back up.
Yeah, exactly.
But so excited to be working with that group, and they'll have international distribution for it. It will be picked up by Tile Bar in the United States.
Oh, we know them
Congratulations.
well.
Yeah, so that was really fun. And the inspiration behind the collection was almost like an origami. So we were playing with the concept of folding paper and what would happen if you folded the clay and created this
Ooh,
really
neat.
cool kind of architectural effect.
You know,
with
Tile
it.
Bar's where I had my line.
Yes.
See the
Yeah,
connections
yeah,
here?
yeah.
I had a line with them.
You did?
Yeah, they still have my name on it.
Yeah.
See, are there new things all the time, loves?
Yes.
You know, tiles is a huge thing
Oh,
here
it's
in
so
Barcelona.
good.
yeah.
And the history in Girona of ceramics and the creation of it is a big thing. I don't know if you have time for that, but
And
yeah.
not on this trip, but I would love.
Oh, yes.
So I know. I have
So
all my
good.
plate. I'm like, I want to go to
You
You're coming
will
back.
flip in
Oh,
Girona.
you're 100%.
Oh,
yeah.
She's coming back.
Hells
She's
to the
coming
yeah.
to hang out.
Well, here's another question. How does travel inspire designs? Oh, you know what? We just flipped questions. The power
That's
of Christ
okay.
No,
compels.
please.
How does travel inspire what you're doing and the process that you flow through?
That's okay. I mean,
Yeah.
it is one of the things that I think where I feel my spirituality, like kick in, where I'm my
Totally.
best self when I'm traveling.
Right?
It's because you're open to inspiration. I think it's like you've shaken up your everyday routine and you're actually present. And I think that's half the battle is we are creatures of habit.
Masters of the universe.
Right? And it's like one of those things that we get up every day. If you're not paying attention, yeah, you might have great habits that you've created. So you get up, you do your meditation, maybe you're present for that. You go do your workout. I know half the time I'm asleep during my workout, but I get it done. I know because I'm sweaty at the end.
Right.
I don't really remember
Where
what
was I?
happened,
Yeah.
but, you get stuff done. And then you're like in there, you drop your kid to the school and you feed your dog and you go to
Right.
work. And,
Right.
you 8 hours later or 10 hours later, you leave and you eat some dinner and you go to bed and the next
Do it
day
again.
it happens again. So it's kind of a little like Groundhog's Day where I feel like when you travel, you're totally broken from Groundhog's Day and you're just alive. You're truly alive. You're in a new city, a new place, new language, new food, new culture. And I'm alive again.
Yeah.
It's for me. So I take all of that back, the colors and the smells and the tastes and the flavors of it, and I put it into our work. And so we're working right now on revamping our Stay by Stacy Garcia brand,
Okay, nice.
which I used to have on QVC.
Yeah.
And it's funny because one of the two inspirations that we're pitching to a major retailer right now. One is hand blocks from India, which is where I was in January.
it.
And then the other theme was Provence. And I hadn't been here. I was just dreaming about it.
on.
And then
See it all
here-
lined up.
I'm telling you, like giddy.
Yes.
I'm just
You could have
so,
been on the
so
beach
grateful.
instead.
But now to be able to speak about it firsthand,
Yes.
to say like I saw the block
This
printing
is
done
it.
in Jaipur. I was in the fields of lavender. I smelled it. I tasted it. It's, I mean, we walked the shops. It's amazing.
Thank you for sharing that here. Seriously.
I
Yeah.
know.
Thank you
I'm
for sharing that
so
here.
excited.
And
I'm
we don't
so
have to wait till we
excited.
go like international either. I think those are the things that we have to remind ourselves. We can be a tourist in our own home.
Yeah.
We can be a tourist in our own location. So I think sometimes it's just making that effort to say, I'm doing something different. I'm not going to the same restaurant I always go to,
Right.
The same coffee shop I always go to. I'm going to
Different
go
route home.
go find something new. Like
Amen.
wake it up. Let's live.
That
There's a
is so
finite
true.
amount of time we each get. Nobody knows when it's done. So, we have to get
That's
up every
right.
day and remind ourselves like we're here. There's
Do
new
something.
people. There's something new. Like shake it up.
I love that. I think it's interesting for people who incorporate travel into their like monthly, yearly, as you have to go and do it just to expand your mind.
Yeah.
And there's to advice to anyone and families, get your kids out of the bubble that they're in, right? Would you say that?
Oh,
Get them
totally.
a passport, please.
Yeah.
right?
40%
They need
only
to.
in our country.
No, I
Right.
know they need to experience something else, right? I think it's just so important for our kids, but also for your creativity. Are you taking photos of just the most random things like patterns?
Of course.
Yeah, I know her phone is full
Like-
of little
like
like
dirt.
a corner.
I'm
Yes.
taking pictures of like,
exactly.
you
You're
know,
like, look at that
yeah.
thing, the way it curves around
Right,
the
the
thing. and then-
manholes. The
Right.
patterns on the manholes
Yes.
here are insane.
Insane. There's the most
Manhole.
incredible. There's
Excuse me.
wow.
Oh.
Yeah. Great. We have a photo.
a family
of you.
show, love.
We have a
Family
photo of you. The patterns here are incredible.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's one of the first things that I noticed before moving here.
Yeah.
That I would take pictures of even just the metal grates covering the storefronts. Because
Totally.
there were patterns that I've never seen before.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's just really, really interesting. I love it. Okay, so you've got tile, you've got your fabric, obviously.
Yeah,
Are you
we-
still in wallpaper?
Tons of wallpaper.
Yeah.
So we're with Core Seal, with our Stacy Garcia New York line, and
Which I
then
love.
with York with our Blue Label line,
Yeah.
which is sold through Momentum in the United States, and
Right.
and then we also have Peel and Stick on the residential side with Next Wall.
Ooh,
So
fun.
that's under our
Is that for
Peeling
rentals?
stick I love.
It's fun. It's rentals. It's fabulous for because
Exactly.
and I was saying even like my daughter's room, I did regular wallpaper in her room. She wants to take it down now. So yeah, the Peel and Stick is
Way to spruce it.
fabulous.
No, it really is. Seriously. Yeah, we both rent great apartments.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah, but I need her eye. I'm one of those.
I'll
gays
help
that
you.
doesn't
I'll
See
help
have-
that?
you. I'll help it.
World just opened up.
Exactly.
Okay,
Exactly.
the potential, unbelievable.
Oh, that's so fun.
Yeah, you can even
Exactly.
put it on the ceiling, although it's much harder than
Yeah.
regular wallpaper
And-
because you can't move it around that much.
Yeah,
but
and the ceilings are really high. Like I
Oh,
can't change
forget
a
it.
light bulb.
Peel and stick on the walls, much better.
Yeah, please
but
don't
I'll tell
fall.
you what's
Yeah.
nice
No,
is
no,
they're
no,
not
no.
plasticky.
Oh,
They're actual paper. We do some of them with metallics. They're beautiful.
really?
Or
Oh, I
cellulose.
can't
They
wait.
use a lot of cellulose for things here now.
Yeah, no,
Okay,
it's,
no,
yeah, it's a
no,
paper.
Exciting. So
I
you get
know,
your
so that's
papers, your
fun.
fabrics, the
yeah.
tiles. Are we moving? Do we have furniture? Lighting? What do we-
I'm looking for new furniture.
Okay.
So I actually just signed with an
See?
upholsterer.
See?
So yeah,
Yeah.
we're doing that. But I'm looking for case goods. So
Okay.
if you're listening, if you know anybody fabulous out there.
What type of furniture, may I ask?
So
Specific.
I want to do. We had a case goods manufacturer that unfortunately closed their doors. No, so that was very sad. That was private equity owned, and that was an unfortunate. But I'm trusting that
That's
everything
right.
happens
There's
for
a
a
reason.
reason, and we just signed with a company on upholstery, but only for Wayfair.
Okay.
So we're going to be doing
Ooh.
upholstered seating, sleeper sofas with a company called Edgecombe, and they're going to bring that out under the Stacy Garcia home brand. So again, the press release hasn't even gone out yet on it.
Let's
but
make it on the
yeah,
first.
we're getting a lot of
then
new.
Another
yeah.
tangent question off
Yeah.
the list for people who have cats and love their sofa. Is there a specific cover that we should buy?
For animals.
Well, and I'm not worried about the dog, but it's
Yeah.
the cat. It's
With
the
the
poor
nails,
cat.
they have the nails.
And
That's the
I'm one of
problem.
those that I feel like it's cruelty to cat.
Yeah, no, you don't have to do that. I don't know. Do you have the scratcher in your house?
I
you have
do,
the
but he
carpet
doesn't
scratcher.
use
He
it.
doesn't like it.
And he doesn't really mess it up too, but I'm just wondering if there's a tougher
There is.
type of.
Yeah.
Fabrics.
It's usually a contract. I mean, that's the hospitality. Are
I feel like,
contracts.
but
Yeah.
even that
Sure.
with a cat nail, and we joke because I call it the paperclip test.
Yeah.
So I own a textile company. Somebody will bring something, it's commercial standard. I'm like, let's see about that. And I'll like undo a paperclip, and it's like, no, it's not.
Right.
It's not good.
Right.
So that's
I
like a
love
cat
learning these little
nail.
things, you guys. Thank
You
for
know,
telling me.
because a lady's high heel,
Yep.
somebody throws a suitcase on it.
Shit,
If it's going to
so-
get
Exactly.
yanked, it's no bueno. So it's
How many rubs?
I know. 50,000, anything after that is silly. It's
Okay.
you can keep
so
doing
that means
it.
it's a test. A rub test is like a machine that literally will take a piece of fabric, as you
Yeah.
know. I'm describing. I'm holding my hands out for anybody who's watching, and it's a machine that will just do this. And so it's a double rub.
Yeah.
That's one.
I'm sure my father
Two.
knows this.
Yeah.
Three, right? And so when you've got a rating of 50,000, it doesn't show wear until 50,000 of those.
Yeah, it's huge. Now,
Right.
the Association for Commercial Textiles will say
Massive.
30,000 is actually considered commercial quality.
Really?
The industry kept pushing it up like a marketing ploy, so people kind of are like 50. At some point, it's silly. It's like
Right.
it's going to ugly out before it wears out.
It's like
to answer your
SPF 50,
question,
right?
I would say get an old sofa, throw an old blanket over it,
Yeah.
and wait until the cat is no longer. The cats destroy things.
cat-
The
it's
nails
just
are going to
gonna-
destroy it. There's
nails
not
are
there's
nails.
because they're going to ruin leather. They're going to ruin
true.
it's
Yeah.
yeah, and anything that has. You got to get
that's
something
not
really
true.
forgiving. I really have to
Right.
think about that.
It's
A
true.
canvas, they're going to destroy.
No.
Exactly.
They will.
Yeah.
You know
Well,
what?
I
Go
had
for a
it
vintage.
destroyed,
We'll get
that's
you a
why.
vintage piece and then you'll
Yeah,
remember
just
it.
throw a big blanket
Starting
on it.
vintage
A
quickly.
sleeping bag.
Exactly. Okay. Let's see. Next
so
question.
funny.
How does one forecast color and design? Oh God, tell us about some trends coming up, please.
I
That's
know.
what we wanna
Forecasting
know.
is a whole other thing.
And how do they do it?
Yeah, how do you do it?
I love it. Okay, this is for me half of how I built
Patty.
my business.
No.
So I joined a group called Color Marketing Group probably 25 years ago, and it's an international organization. We have hundreds of people who are decision makers and influencers within the world of color.
Okay.
And so it means that's part of your job is to design it, forecast it, see what's coming. Everybody from Crayola crayons, Kimberly Clark, paper goods. We've had people who worked at Apple at these cosmetic companies, car companies, and then
it.
of course our world,
totally.
commercial interior design. But it's consumer goods and commercial goods that get together and talk about what are we seeing, including the companies that work in the chemical industries that are making
Okay.
the colorants that are going into the yarns or the fibers or the cosmetics or the paints. So it's wild. I mean,
Wild.
you're sitting at a table with everybody,
Like
from
Dow Industry type.
Everything.
everybody, and the big paint companies and the tile. It's
Anything that has color.
fascinating.
It
and
is.
so everybody comes really open and brings what they're working on, bringing their best sellers, bringing what they're talking about. I will say it's gotten more challenging because as the world has opened and social media has taken over and you're seeing things are adopted so much faster than they ever were.
Yeah.
And it's more diversity. So it's become harder to say this is money in the bank, like this is definitely the color.
Right.
And to know how long that trend is going to last.
Right.
So for our forecasting process, I've taken a lot of what I learned at Color Marketing Group or CMG, brought that into our studio. And I'm going to say we'll forecast out. So we'll do 2 years out, but we're tempered with our forecasts because I'm not in the fashion industry.
Yeah.
We're in home fashion. We're in interior fashion. It's a slower turn,
Right.
especially in hospitality. We're designing hotels,
Right.
7 years.
Right.
It's a 7 year. It's got to live and look good and look fresh
Right.
for at
Can't
least
ugly out.
at least 7 years.
Right.
There's 7 years in hotels.
Oh yeah, you're
Yeah.
on a 7 year
Because they don't-
mandated
I learned
renovation.
so
That's right.
Yeah,
freaking
renovation
much today.
cycle.
Their budgets are minimal, first of all, right?
And after what we just came out of, where they didn't have any.
Exactly. And so that's the only thing I still design is hotels.
Yeah.
Right? So when you've got a hotel that's got 400 keys or 200 keys or 300 keys, they're spending a lot of money and they are not going to look at it again.
Yeah.
Right?
So a soft goods renovation cycle is 7 years.
That's right.
So that's the carpet, the fabrics. They'll repaint the walls, maybe some wallpaper. Then the next cycle, they'll do furniture. So every 14 years is a case goods renovation cycle with another soft goods. 7 years later, they'll do bathrooms and hard surface. So the flooring will get ripped
7 packs of 7.
Yep.
in packs of 7. So that's, and then you can get a variance if something is like in really good shape. They're not going to let you, make you throw it out.
Right.
But when we're forecasting, then I'm not looking going, okay, well, it's only going to be cool for the next 2 years. It's like, no, we want to look for the evolution of a trend. Like, okay, it's moving, but it's moving slowly. If something's coming in fast and furious, we're going to consider that a fad.
It's going to go out.
Yeah, so
and
fast is a fad. It's going to go out. The trends happen over time. And I'm getting ready to kick off a trend tour, which I don't know if I told you.
Wow, I love it.
I know. So I partnered with NEWH, which is the Network of Executive Women in Hospitality.
Oh, fantastic.
And it's an international organization as well. We're strongest in the US, but they have a European chapter that's have members in Paris and London.
Love it.
And right now I'm limiting the tour to the States, but yes, you should check them out
I'm
if
going
you're in
to.
hospitality design. They're a fabulous group. And I'm taking my trends and we're doing events in 12 cities in the United States. So I kick off in September.
Great.
And I'm going on tour. I feel
What
like a rock
cities?
star.
What cities
I
are
know,
you
is that
doing?
fun?
Do you know what
Yeah,
cities?
well, I'm starting in Chicago. So the Merchandise Mart actually was very generous and they
So
sort of raised their hands fast and said, will you kick it off here with us? And so they're sponsoring event number 1. And actually our national sponsors, I'll do a thank you to them also, but I have Tile Bar, Momentum, Material Bank, Signature Flooring, and Libatex as our national sponsors who are helping me
Excellent.
get this tour off the ground. And so we'll be, Chicago, Cincinnati, Boston are our first 3 cities.
Love it.
And then, we'll have Miami running during Art Basel. We have...
I have to go to one of these. I'm going to be in town.
Yeah.
I know I am.
Yeah. So, and then working on the details for some of the other ones. But everything from Pittsburgh to Southern California.
It is so fascinating to see
yeah.
the trends when you think about this. Like these are the things, not just fashion, obviously.
Yeah.
We're talking about, but the home trends, you know, because they're so quick to turn over with Wayfair and all of the things where people can buy things online.
Yeah.
They update, and just like you think, how can you do a new dress design? It's the same thing for our home furnishings, right? Where people want to update their things.
Yeah.
And big stores, big box stores, I'll just throw it out there. Target, one of the first.
Don't hold back.
I'm not going to, but they're one of the first people to actually show people, look, it's a new season, you need new things.
Yeah.
Right. It was something years ago.
Yeah.
That would start, right?
I think you mean Target.
I did mean Target, but I mean just having that concept, right? That it's spring. Let's change out the fabrics. Let's change out the colors. Let's change out because that's what kind of gets the wheels spinning, right?
And it caught the eye of fashionistas. Cynthia Rowley
yeah.
started doing a line with them.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally, yeah. And it's
The pop-ups.
The pop-ups, exactly. And it's just a fascinating thing for me. Like people will go to Stacy.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about it like she's not here. And go, okay, look, I want to create something. And I know this when I was trying to figure out what colors to put on things I designed.
Right.
It's a thing because it's going to take you a year to create this thing
And have it
Oh,
come
yeah.
out.
and have it come out. So then you can't be the wrong color
Right.
when it comes out. It needs to be on trend, and it's just fascinating.
Yeah. And you're getting into the psyche of the consumer. I mean, that's really, right? It's like, okay, what's motivating them? That's really, when you're looking at how do you color forecast, you're basically like an anthropologist and psychologist. You're in there going, what is making people tick?
Wow.
What do they
Is it
want to
only social
feel?
media?
No, I mean,
Okay.
social's been
Okay.
huge, but
Yeah,
no,
but-
it's economic, it's environmental, it's political.
Wow.
Right?
As well.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Right? Like how did we want to feel, you know, when everybody's on lockdown?
Right. Right.
That
well,
was
that
a huge
changed a lot.
motivator. Everybody started renovating their houses. And you know
right.
what? People wanted it to be cozy.
Yes.
You wanted to feel comfortable.
Yes.
Right?
Natural elements came back in.
Right. You
Yeah.
were bringing, green became
Yeah.
this huge color.
Exactly.
So, you know, it's interesting
design
to see,
psychology?
yeah,
Exactly.
what motivates, you know, consumer behavior, basically.
Oh my
And the
gosh.
environmental thing. I forgot about that.
No, it's
Hello.
huge.
Yeah. So there's always factors that we're looking at, you know, that kind of are behind the scenes, which make people, again, want something versus something else.
Okay, so tell me a little bit more about the tour. So you're going to do the forecasting. You have guests? You have people come and speak?
So I'm going to do a 45-minute keynote in each city,
great.
and then we're going to do basically a celebration. So there'll be cocktails, it'll be a whole thing. We'll have a step and repeat to take pictures.
Love it.
We have trend boxes for the first 50 people at every city, get a takeaway.
Fun.
Yeah, fun swag bags, and just really trying to make it an event. But for me, my motivation behind it is to share with our industry the forecast that we're doing, educate people on where the trends are coming from, and that way the designers feel empowered to walk away and say, you know what, okay, I do feel confident about this, or this was really validating. I kind of thought that, but I didn't know why.
Right.
You know, or I saw it on Pinterest, but I wasn't sure if
Right.
that was the right way to go.
Right.
And so, you know.
That's a really good point. So let's
Yeah.
just go there for a second, because interior designers are just like the consumer or their clients. We are influenced as well, right?
Absolutely.
And it's now with AI, I've got all kinds of inspiration coming
Yeah.
at me, right?
Yeah.
And there's controversy on that, not for me, but for others that think, okay, this is not real. Why are you posting it?
Yeah.
And I was like, because it's just as real as anything else. You also don't know the living room that was shot by Art Digest. You've never walked through it.
Right, that's
You've
true.
never seen it.
Yeah, that's true.
It's exactly the same.
yeah.
Do you put AI though, like this AI inspired or something?
Yeah,
Or you
totally.
put, like,
Yeah.
okay.
Put the artist and everything so people don't get upset about it, because it's truly just for inspiration.
Right.
You're not maybe going to put that much 2 inches between the pool and the pool deck and the furniture.
I remember that.
Do you
It's
see
so
that?
Beautiful. Though.
But it's so pretty. But I was like,
Yeah.
there's some impracticalities in some of these designs
Right.
that are just not. They're not designers creating these things. But the fact that we are all inspired, even the professionals, right, are getting inspiration. So it is an interesting thing. Like, what would be the trend? I think it would. My trend forecast would be different every day,
Right.
depending on what I'm looking at. So I think it's just so fascinating that you're doing that. I love that.
Thank you. Yeah, and I'm excited to just go visit with our industry.
I
You know, to
know.
hit 12 cities and see our people. And
Yes.
talk to other creatives and you know, get
what?
feedback and share some knowledge.
It's
Hell
it's so fun. We see each other at least twice a year
Yeah.
at markets, and if we're not sitting next to each other on a panel, we're passing each other or we're going to each other's panels to
Yes.
go and see what the other is doing.
You know,
And
you need people like that. It's
My conventions were always book conventions with my parents. So we're always going to the conventions of booksellers and authors and singers and stuff
That's
like
great.
that. So I did the trade shows, and you were right. You said something about you cannot be by yourself for 3 days.
no.
Oh my God.
Yeah. No. You need some people. You got to have some people there.
your people,
Yeah.
right? It's true.
I know. Where you can also just kind of turn down the dial a little and not be on
Yeah, yeah,
every
yeah.
second.
Yeah. Well, your
Yeah.
tour, you're going to be on.
I know.
It's
And
all
it's
you.
funny. I am an extrovert, so like, you know,
Yeah.
I'm one of those weird people that it's like, there's 1,000 people here. My energy level just went through the roof. And like, you know, I'll travel with like the introverts, and they're like,
Oh my God.
shaking from it. You know, like,
Do you just want to slap them sometimes?
Yeah, she's got no problem.
It's what
No.
With
the
that,
world
with that
will
overly
That's right.
nervous introvert. No.
Yeah.
Are you a May or August baby? By
I'm in
any chance?
December. I'm a
December
Sag.
baby.
Yeah.
Ah, Sag.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
She's got wings on her feet.
Right. Exactly. That's it. I never thought of
Wings
it
on
like
her
that.
Oh yeah.
That's interesting.
Oh yes.
It
You are-
probably makes a.
It does make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
I love it. So tell me then, what other projects do you want to drop? You would drop so much on the show. I'm so excited.
It's unbelievable.
I know.
It's
Is there
like-
anything else you
and I'm
want to
listening
drop?
to it come out of my mouth,
And
I'm
you're like, I just said
it's
that out
a
loud.
little bit exhausting. Like, I don't know how we're getting this all done,
Right?
but no, I have an amazing team. So shout out to the team back in New York,
Yeah.
and really, like we were talking about, some of the global team members that
Yeah.
we've got at this point who
Yeah.
are getting it done, and
Flexibility.
you know, sticking with me through all these crazy ideas. And it's kind of amazing because it's like, you know what, some of these, they're just like little sprints.
Yeah.
So they're not forever things. It's like the
Right.
tour is here and it's going to be fun. And I mean, we have also just the benefit of the partnership with NEWH. They've been incredible. So they've,
So exciting.
gotten us, you know, just, and again, that's that like, who can help me with this?
Yes.
I'm like, all right, I have this crazy idea. Who can help me with this? Wait, I know who can help me with this. Let me go ask.
Exactly.
And Sheila, who's the CEO, was like, tell me what you need.
That is the best. Tell me what
Amazing.
you need. Isn't it the nicest answer though?
The best thing ever.
It is the best
Yeah.
thing ever. And
Yeah.
like when I said, "Hey, I'd like to have you live. Tell me what you need.
Yeah.
Where do you want me? You want me here? Yes, I want you here.
yeah,
live."
here I am.
I
I
know.
know. Amazing. My kids are like, that's so cool.
As well, fresh off the boat.
Literally, fresh off the boat.
Yeah.
I am so happy that you stopped in.
Thank
this
you.
has been.
Seriously, thank
Didn't I
you.
tell you that you would love her?
So it's like she told me
Thank you. And
That's
I'm
it.
like, I love all the voices he does.
I
mean,
know,
he just keeps
right?
you entertained. I had no idea.
Yeah.
No clue. I just thought there was this like sexy, amazing radio voice.
No,
There's
I
that
didn't know
too.
there was like a
Cartoons.
character.
Cartoons.
HB Acting Studio, 120 Bank Street. Shout out. Where in the city are you from? Actually, I have to
So,
ask.
I was a Queens kid.
Okay, Brooklyn kid.
Okay,
All right.
got it.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh, were you over by Trump? Were you over by Trump? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it
It
is.
is.
I'm like,
It is.
See,
what
that
it
is
is.
the
it's
phrase.
a sad day for America. I mean, what
It
are
was
you gonna do?
it was a weird. It's a weird thing. Yeah, I heard really funny meme before we go. Somebody said,
please.
"I can't. No, I can't go to dinner. I'm watching the last final season of America."
I'm so interested. I'm like, well, I may be knocking on your door.
I like the
Yeah,
one where
yeah,
you
yeah.
said last week,
Oh no.
world, please, this is a conversation. This is a family conversation.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
I wrote that. I was like, okay, for all my friends, please turn off your television. European friends, this is a family conversation, and us Americans need to have it and work it
It's a
out in
conversation
private.
for indies
Okay.
and dems.
It was
oh my
Exactly.
God.
I
But
know.
Let's talk about something
All right.
else.
Okay.
Really quickly before we wind up, where do you feel most creative? When you're
Yeah.
inspired and doing your thing?
Your
where do you
design
feel?
psychology question we ask everybody.
know.
Where
I mean,
do
I'm
you
going to
feel
come
that?
back to kind of what we were talking about. For me, I feel most creative, honestly, when I'm traveling. I feel like my mind is open. You know, I'm receptive to new
Yes.
things, and I do feel most alive, and that's where a lot of the creativity happens. The other thing is, and I just read this, so I'm not going to claim it as my own. I don't remember who came up with it, but it something like when you let go. That's where the creativity happens also. It's when and they were kind of equating it to Einstein, like, you know, when he was working on the problems, and it's like forcing through it. But when you let it go and just kind of hand it over to that back burner, that's where it all clicks for you, and your mind is able to connect the dots. So I think we all need a little more relaxation. That's going to be my mantra too, because I think that's actually where you have that
Totally.
where those gems can actually coalesce for you.
Love that.
Disconnect to reconnect.
Yeah.
I love it too. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being
Thank
here.
It was
you.
so good. As usual, whatever you do in your life is designed by you. That makes your life genuine. And honestly, design meets life at those moments. It's just so exciting.
Especially when life brings you these types of designers. Thank you for being here.
Oh my
again.
gosh.
Thank you for having me. Thanks for doing the juggle to get me on today.
The juggle was easily done, dear. And remember,
Exactly.
children, we'll be back next Bat Time and channel with more goodness for your ears and eye holes. Until then, remember, keep yourselves loving and keep yourselves loved because you are loved. We'll see you on the flat side. And remember, design your life for you, children. Bye.
Bye.